It is championship weekend for the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. Welcome to the Homestead Miami Speedway for the final race of the 2024 season. It is the Ford EcoBoost 400. And ladies and gents, I really think it's safe to say it's not too much of a championship weekend because, or really I should say, a close championship race to say at that, because John Andrews, after last weekend at Phoenix, managed to increase his points gap by about, if I did my math correctly, at least a good amount. It's enough for him to lock up the championship officially here tonight. But 134 laps, all John Andrews would have to do is either finish he doesn't really necessarily have to do anything. He could finish this race, but he could also for sure sit it out for the rest of the way, and he could still win the championship regardless of what happens here. But it sure is going to be a fun one, to say the least, here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Man, what a season it's been. We're getting ready to bring the curtain down here tonight. Let's go ahead. Let's review your point standings. This is exactly what we're looking at heading into the final race of the season here tonight. 550 points. That's how many points John Andrews has coming in, and that is a huge gap over Edson Hernandez, 472 points. That is about a 78-point gap. That's actually pretty close to what John Andrews and Tyler Belladonna were separated. That's how close they were before Texas, I should say. But of course, Andrews, unfortunately, ended up having himself a bad, terrible ending to his day at Phoenix last week, which saw John Andrews take full advantage of all the track position he was able to earn after starting very, very deep in the field, and he wound up with a 9th place finish, which gives him a really, really pretty much a guaranteed, opportunity at walking away with this championship. Of course, Belladonna with 468 in his pocket, Michael Young 457, Skylar Taylor 454, completing the top 5 with Will Parrish 6th with 450, Chad Gronkowski, our Talladega and Michigan winner, 7th with 433. Rogel Duran, our Kansas winner, with 429. Stephen Colon with 427 in the 9th position. And then Val Moscow completing the top 10 in points with 472 coming into tonight's season finale. Here's a look at the rest of your results. Here's a look at the rest of your results coming into Homestead Miami. And of course, with Daniel Adams finally nabbing his first win of the season at Phoenix. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to advance his way up to the points as much as somebody like Roberto Crown Jr., for instance. But you do have to admit, at least ending off the year with a win, I'd say is definitely a good way to cap off the season if you're somebody like Daniel Adams, who's had himself a pretty stellar season when in regards to the runs that he has, but the finishes don't really quite speak for themselves. He's had himself a very, very much of a struggling season, but he was able to pull it out and get the win at Phoenix last week. Wyatt Walker, another one who came really, really close to his first win, settled in 3rd. Roberto Crown Jr., who could have actually won back-to-back races. If he had won back-to-back, we would actually see him in the top 10 in the standings. Pretty close to that, I may say. But nonetheless, Crown has had himself a really good turnaround this year, especially towards the tail end of the season. 413 points to his name. And we're getting ready to see what these drivers are going to do for the final 134 laps of the season here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's take a look at your starting lineup here for the Ford EcoBoost 400. As you can see there, it is Kyler Sustry who starts on the pole position, lined up alongside Will Parrish. Then we have John Andrews, who more than likely is going to be guaranteeing himself the championship after tonight. Val Moscow lines up alongside. Then we have Colin Block and Damian Kyle Wood making up the third row. Stephen Colon and PJ Vidal, row 4. Runner-up in points, Edson Hernandez, and then Nathan Stapleton make up row number 5. Then we have Skylar Taylor, Josh Lee, Nia Steidel, Travis Crampton, Alex Sanvitali, Dale Johnson II, Alex Rampus, Daniel Adams, Rogel Dorn, Mitchell LeBryan completing the top 20, along with Tyler Belladonna, Bob Floyd, John Felber, Tatiana Noguera, Michael DeFeo, Jeremiah Simpson, I almost said Jessica Simpson again, Matt Jones, Sebastian Palmer. Then we have Casey Wells, Ryan Durrani completing the top 30. Then followed by Bryce Egan, Matthew Hubert, Ava Murray, Chad Gronkowski, BB Hange. Unfortunately, has just not had himself a good second half of the 2024 season. Now looking to try to end it off strong here tonight. Zachary Fitzwater, Sammy Cars, Michael Young, Terry Walker, and Wyatt Walker make up row number 20. And then our provisional starters, Roberto Crown Jr. and Derek Hamill, make up row number 21. I don't really think there's much else left to say, except we are getting ready to go here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. One final race of the 2024 season. One final NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series event. Thank you for the memories. And we're getting ready to bring the curtain down on the 2024 season. It's been fun. Let's get this show on the road. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling on the racetrack one final time, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside and get just that.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines fired. Pace cars rolling off, and so are these 42 competitors one last time this season. I am not either or. That usually I stay quiet so that way I can listen to the command and everything. But anyways, what's going on, Karu? How we doing? Happy Saturday. Hope it's been a good one for you. As the field makes their way onto the racetrack, just remember this is the season finale, the Ford EcoBoost 400. John Andrews in the number 17 more than likely is going to walk away with this championship. We're doing actually pretty good, Karu. Getting ready to settle the final race of the McDonald's Cup Series season. Field works their way through turns 3 and 4. It's Kyler Sustry in the number 11 with Will Parrish in the number 2. They're going to have control of the start. Pace car is in, and here we go. The final race of the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season is underway. Here we go. Top 2 heading into turn number 3 is Kyler Sustry, who breaks out with the advantage. John Andrews moving up into the second position. Will Parrish getting into the outside wall. He's going to fall back into the third spot. As Sustry leads lap number 1, he does get a bonus point. Is everybody now starting to go double file, at least for the moment, heading back into turn 3. Colin Block trying to work the inside. Something else we're going to have to watch for is all these drivers go really high through the corners. This is exactly what we're going to have to watch for. Just exactly what Will Parrish just did. When you get a little bit too high through turns 3 and 4, there is a very strong likelihood that your car will gravitate towards the outside wall, and you'll get what is kind of like the Darlington stripe, but we're going to call it the Miami stripe. So some drivers more than likely will get the Miami stripe here tonight, like what PJ Vidal is getting right here as he gets into the outside wall, right into Nathan Stapleton. They're all bouncing off of one another, but somehow they managed to keep it together. We're still green. Not Sustry, excuse me, but Skylar Taylor in the 15 trying to make it work on the inside. But Vidal, with a good, strong run on the outside, is going to try to retain that 9th position from Taylor heading back into 3. Vidal gets into the outside wall yet again, but is still able to hold on to the 9th spot, at least for the moment. Take a look a little bit further back. Nia Steidel in the 41, trying to make that inside line work. Either that or just hope and pray that a lot of these drivers wound up getting that Miami stripe, and so that way she could take full advantage of all the track position that she could possibly earn, because look at how many drivers are right up against the wall here as they go through 3 and 4. But if you hit turns 3 and 4, if you use the outside groove just right, it is the preferred line to take. But you could still run the middle. It's just not as easy as one could even imagine. So coming around to complete 6 laps here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Kyler Sustry continues to lead the charge. John Andrews, the man who will most likely walk away, officially lock up the championship here after tonight, runs in the 2nd position. Colin Block and Will Parrish fighting it out for the 3rd spot. Then just behind them is Val Moscow and Damian Kyle Wood fighting it out for the 5th position, heading back into turn number 3. Runner-up in points, Edson Hernandez just a little bit ways back as Cologne gets into the outside wall, coming off of turn number 4. And Taylor has managed to get by PJ Vidal for the 9th position, has still yet to fully clear the 13. But they're still fighting it out side by side. Another fight going on behind them. This is the battle for 11th. It's Nathan Stapleton and Nia Steidel. Steidel still trying to get either a good, strong finish or even a win to close out the 2024 season. She's come close a few times, so maybe tonight could be the night. Block and Parrish still fighting it out for 3rd as the top 2 are still single file. And just barely checking out from the battle for 3rd as they're still side by side coming off of turn number 4. That's Parrish and Block. Block is going to lose some momentum on the inside. He's going to officially lose that fight for 3rd. Parrish retains it, and now Damian Kyle Wood trying to get around Block from the outside line. Let's head back into turn 3. Hendrick Motorsports teammates now fighting it out. And Parrish gets into the outside wall. That's definitely not something he wants. This is going to pull Block right back into the mix. And hold on just 1 second. You're still not going to miss. Parrish and Block still fighting it out. And you have the Hendrick Motorsports teammates of Moscow and Cologne, what looked to be fighting for the 6th position, but they did not. Obviously, that fight didn't go over very well. Cologne does check out with the 7th position. Edson Hernandez right now in 6th. Val Moscow has been kicked back to 9th. Stapleton has found his way back up inside of the top 10, right back to where he started. But now he's got Skylar Taylor to his inside, followed by the 41 of Steidl. And a little ways back, that's Josh Lee in the number 34. Parrish into the outside wall again, and this is what's going to cause everybody on the inside to go right on by. It holds up a lot of drivers. When a driver on the extreme outside line ends up tagging the wall and getting that Miami stripe coming off of 4, it backs up everybody behind them and allows everybody that's running the bottom line to take full advantage of that little slight mistake that Parrish just made, even if it's just for a few seconds. So Parrish rockets back up to 4th. Rockets around Cologne to retain 4th, I should say. As now he's under attack from Edson Hernandez in the 31, lined up around the outside. 14 laps complete this time by. Sustrai has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. And the battle for 5th continues to heat up here as they come off of turn number 2. Cologne and Hernandez still fighting it out. Everybody, at least for the most part, is still double file. It's almost like pace car formation, if you will. But not too much has really changed when it comes to the top 10 is concerned. Other than Josh Lee has now poked his nose inside of the top 10 for the first time here tonight, early in the going here at Homestead Miami Speedway. If you're just now tuning in, we are 15 laps complete here in the season finale here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Kyler Sustrai has led every single lap, and our eventual McDonald's Cup Series champion, John Andrews, is sitting in the second position. Again, Andrews comes in here with 550 points, an incredible margin over Edson Hernandez, to where it's basically impossible for John Andrews to mathematically lose this championship. So Andrews can pretty much do whatever he pleases, and he'll still win the title tonight. But that still doesn't mean we can determine who's going to be the final winner of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. It could very well be John Andrews, but it also could be Kyler Sustrai. Andrews gets into the outside wall. That opens up the door for Colin Block to drive low, and everybody else that's lined up behind him. This is not a drafting racetrack, but it is kind of interesting that everybody has really not... That nobody's really gotten away from one another, and everybody's just kind of sitting exactly where they are. Not even made a whole lot of noise. But with all these other cars that are just scraping the outside wall, they're just scraping the wall going through 3 and 4. It's impressive to me of how that hasn't caused the yellow flag, at least not yet. We're just going to have to wait and see what the tire wear is going to look like here. Maybe say right around lap 34, if I may, if I'm having to guess. Maybe the tire wear would just be intense enough to where we could potentially see our first caution. Just depends on what happens. "20 laps will be complete this time around. Sustrai has led every single lap thus far. John Andrews, really top 2, has not changed whatsoever since the drop of the green flag. Sustrai trying to go for win number 1 on his McDonald's Cup Series career and of the season. John Andrews trying to add just a little bit more to his stellar 2024 season by getting his 4th win on the year, which would add insult to injury to every single other driver around him, since he pretty much has this championship locked up it will be officially crowned our champion after tonight. Once this checkered flag waves, Vidal getting into the outside wall just a little bit in the background. That opens up the door for Alex Sanvitali, our Martinsville winner, to drive to the inside. I should clarify our spring Martinsville winner, since John Andrews did get his 3rd win of the year back at Martinsville in October. Now you can kind of see everybody taking some more distinct, I wouldn't say more distinct lines, but more or less everybody's kind of starting to spread out just a little bit more and get a little bit more single file at that as well. It'll be interesting to see what this pack is going to look like after the green flag pit stops come around. Coming back through turns 3 and 4, this time by. Nothing too much has changed up here at the front of the field. Val Moscow getting into the outside wall, heading off of turn number 4. That could have been dangerous if these other guys caught up to him in a hurry and didn't really react. If they didn't react to that, then they would have ended up. It probably would have caused a pileup on the front straightaway. So as they head back through turns 3 and 4, yet again, Andrews once again getting into the outside wall. Colin Block, I think, is going to take full advantage of that. He'll move up to 2nd. First time Andrews loses the 2nd position. But I don't think he's going to be able to clear up on the 17 of Andrews here coming off of 2. Actually, I lied. He does. Down the back straightaway. Block moves up in front of the 17. But Andrews, once again, trying to make that outside work. Try not to get a little bit too high. Just barely taps the wall coming off of turn number 4. And Parrish trying to do everything he can to make the bottom work, as he now just edges ahead coming off of 2. At least this is the fight for 3rd. Andrews edges ahead going through turns 3 and 4. Parrish with the advantage just a little bit, but that fire off on corner exit is what's going to allow Andrews to retain that 3rd position, at least for now. Parrish looks like he's making the bottom work actually pretty well. Dead even for a split second, but again, that corner exit speed for John Andrews and everybody else using that outside line is paying some pretty huge dividends, if I may say. Block getting into the outside wall. This might open up the door for John Andrews to take full advantage of that. 3 abreast here down the front straightaway. Now what's Parrish going to do? He's all the way down on the no man's land, down on the very bottom of the track. But Block once again fires off with the 2nd position. Now Block going to try to go to the outside of Kyler Sustry. Meanwhile, Stapleton getting into the outside wall. This is going to absolutely cost Stapleton several positions. He went from 8th back to 10th. And they're in the midst of a 3-wide situation coming off of 2. DK Wood in the middle. There's Travis Crampton on the bottom. Stapleton fires off from the top. So they settle it back down to a 2-wide situation. 29 laps complete from here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So far, we have not had a caution flag here tonight, which is honestly some pretty good news, if I may say. If you're just now tuning in, Sustry has led every single lap ever since starting on the pole. Andrews held on to 2nd for a good little while. But now, here we go for pit stops. This could get actually pretty interesting. And I think we have a crash. We do. That's Michael DeFeo and Casey Wells around. Wyatt Walker coming to a dead stop. Matt Jones with a ton of front end damage to his number 78 machine. Caution is out. And with this is not good news for anybody that came on down to pit road. So caution on the speedway for the first time tonight, and it's going to be Colin Block leading them back to the caution flag. And that is going to change the complexion of this race dramatically. Closing in on 100 laps to go in the season. But boy, oh boy, you knew exactly that. You knew that was going to happen at some point with those cars that wound up crashing, that were pretty much all in a huge wad. When the green flag pit cycles were about to begin, you figured that was going to happen because you saw the writing was on the wall. A lot of drivers were going extremely wide through those corners. High, low, middle, it looked like in some cases they were almost 5 wide, but the rest of the field looks like is going to make their way down into the pits. Alex Sanvatali in the 26 is going to stay out, so he will be your new race leader. Everybody else who went in and pitted just shortly before the caution flag came out, they're all gonna move up. So it looks like Sustrai is going to be in second. Hernandez will be third. Andrews fourth. Ryan Durrani will complete the top 5 with Stapleton sixth. Derek Hamill 7th. Bryce Egan 8th. Then 9th, the 23 of Matthew Hubert. And BB Haynes would complete the top 10. But from the looks of things, actually, these drivers are all 1 lap down. I should say, I actually do stand corrected on that because Andrews, when Salvatali stayed out, all these drivers do remain 1 lap down. Let's go back and look at what happened that caused our first caution of the night here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. This, honestly, was a very, very interesting turn of events that brought out our first yellow flag on lap number 30. And a lot of it, again, just has to do with drivers that are making their way down pit road and other drivers trying to make room for one another. So we're gonna look at Michael DeFeo here as they head on down into turn number 3. Watch what happens. Durrani is one of those drivers that wounds up making the move to pit road, but everybody kind of just takes evasive action and reacts a little bit differently. Bob Floyd, DeFeo get together here. But I think DeFeo was trying to make a move to the pits, but just kept dooring the 10 of DeFeo. That sends him up into Matt Jones and Wyatt Walker, along with Casey Wells. Tyler Belladonna gets rear-ended by the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr., far right of your screen. They both hit the inside wall. And then Jones is able to drive away, but this, unfortunately, is the thing that brings out our first yellow flag of the night here in Miami. Let's go back and take a look at this at full speed. And when you're in this position, you don't really have a whole lot of time to react. You only have about a half a second. Then once that half second passes, you're fully committed no matter what happens. And fortunately, this wreck doesn't look all that serious. So I would expect all these drivers to continue. The only questionable one, in my honest opinion, would be the number 78 of Matt Jones. He has a pretty moderate buckle on the hood. He's got a little bit of right side damage, which could potentially rub on the tires. But there's a lot of variables that could wound up playing into how his night wounds up going. So now back to live action. From here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the season finale of the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. And Alex Sadvatali is going to lead all the other cars that are at least one lap down onto pit road. So pretty much all this group of cars that wound up pitting just shy of the first yellow flag. So this is going to hand the lead back to Colin Block in the number 98. Then second will be the number 2 of Will Parrish. Josh Lee third. Damian Kyle Wood fourth. Then completing your top 5, Hassan Vitali, which is still currently being shown in third, but that will change here because, again, Savatali made his way into the pits. But Stephen Colon will complete the top 5 with Travis Crampton in 6th, PJ Vidal 7th, Daniel Adams 8th, his teammate Skylar Taylor 9th, and Tatiana Noguera will complete the top 10 once we go back green here in just a few laps' time. So if you're just now tuning in, we are under our first yellow flag here tonight in Miami. It involved at least 3 cars in particular. Wyatt Walker, you also had Michael DeFeo and Bob Floyd getting together. This is just as drivers were making their way down pit road to begin the first round of green flag pit stops. Matt Jones was also collected. He ended up getting probably the worst amount of damage out of everybody else, but I do believe he is still out on the racetrack. There he is in the number 78. He more than likely is not going to be up to speed compared to everybody else, but as long as he's out there, he should still get points. 1 to go. And all these other drivers that are going up to the front of the field on the inside line, these are the drivers that wound up making their first round of green flag stops just seconds before the first yellow flag came out. And when that first yellow flag came out with these cars on pit road, that trapped them to 1 lap down. So pretty much 90% of all the cars that were not involved in that crash, they are up to speed and should be able to get back on the lead lap. For John Andrews, this doesn't really mean a thing. He is walking away with this championship officially after tonight. So your top 10 to review, coming back to the restart now officially. Colin Block the leader, Will Parrish second, Josh Lee third, Damian Kyle Wood in fourth. Stephen Colon completing the top 5 with Travis Crampton 6th, PJ Vidal 7th, Daniel Adams 8th. Then 9th is the number 15 of Skylar Taylor, and Tatiana Noguera rounds out your top 10 as we get ready for this restart. Pace car going to drop on down to pit road. And Block and Wells, remember Wells is a lap down, so she's leading that inside line. Block leading the outside. All those cars on the lead lap as we get ready for the restart. Block with a really impressive jump there coming off of turns 1 and 2. The top 6 all check out as Casey Wells looks like she's blocking that inside line, or pretty much everybody pretty intensely, blocking both lines, now moving up to the top. That's actually going to be pretty interesting to see how tedious and how quickly these drivers are willing to be in order to get by this number 7 of Wells. They are 3 wide. BB Hange on the way bottom, followed by Bryce Egan. This is all just trying to get by this number 7 of Wells. This is actually kind of impressive how Wells, I thought, was going to be up to par with everybody else speed-wise, but I guess that is not 100% the case. With the tiniest amount of damage on her race machine, she is definitely falling like a rock. And then some. Everybody now finally starting to get around her. But man, oh man. Up front, though, lots of drivers are scraping that outside wall pretty aggressively. I think the last one that we just saw to do it was Josh Lee in the 34 machine, holding on to that 4th position, trying to fend off Travis Crampton. Crampton still trying to go for his first win on the season to cap off the 2024 season. Could very well do it here tonight. Lee getting into the outside wall again. That opens up the door for Stephen Colon to pull up alongside, heading back into turn 1. So now Crampton moves up into the 4th position because of Lee hitting the outside wall. And now he sets his sights on the 38 of DK Wood. Meanwhile, Block and Parrish, 1 and 2 for the moment. Lee, both front row motorsports cars getting into the outside wall. This opens up the door for Crampton to drive low yet again. And this is to try to take 3rd away. Meanwhile, all those other cars that are lined up behind the top 5, the top 6, I should say. Remember, all of these cars from Edson Hernandez all the way back to, I want to say, Bryce Egan, they are 1 lap down. So all these drivers, they don't have damage to their race cars, probably minus the Miami stripe, if you will. So all these cars are trying to get back on the lead lap. And so far, I should say, they're not faring too well in regards of trying to catch up to the leaders and just drive around them so that way they can get back on the lead lap, especially with how many times they've been scraping the outside wall, like Matthew Hubert, for instance. Hubert is not on the lead lap. Neither is BB Haynes. They're all pretty deep in the field, 1 lap down. So that's definitely not something that any of these drivers that wound up making their first green flag pit stops seconds before the caution came out, that's what none of them wanted. To be in this position where you're at 1 lap down and you're trying your best to get back on the lead lap, but no matter how hard you try, it just seems rather impossible because of the circumstances of how you race this track. Coming around, this time by to 90 laps to go here in the 2024 season. The top 3 right now, all nose to tail. Parrish getting into the turn 4 wall that opens up the door for DK Wood to drive low. And boy, if that was the finish for if that was for the win, Parrish would have won that by about a piece of paper. But Wood trying to get that 2nd position away. He had it for a little bit, heading down the back straightaway. But it's Parrish who ends up getting that good and better corner entry, heading through 3. Wood staying pretty even. But it's Parrish with the fire-off corner exit that will help him to retain that 2nd position. His teammate Travis Crampton is right there to challenge in the 22. Rocketing around the outside. Pulling up dead even as they head into turn 3. And I think right here, this is where Wood's going to lose this 3rd position right about here, because again, that corner exit speed is just way, way too strong to deal with, especially if you're down there on the inside line. But Wood trying to put up a good fight to get that 3rd position back there from the bottom side. Making it work through 1 and 2. Let's see if he can make it work through 3 and 4. Crampton getting into the outside wall. That's the thing that Wood needed to go back into the 3rd position. Clears up in front of the 22. But now you have Josh Lee and Stephen Colon trying to make that inside work And it looks like Lee, I thought he was going to have enough momentum to try to clear up in front of Crampton, but Crampton answering back with a great run down the back straightaway. Coming off of turn number 4. And Crampton is just going to retain 4th at the stripe right there. Meanwhile, let's take a look further back in the field. Val Moscow in the 88, just 2 seconds back. This is the next car that is on the lead lap. 2 seconds behind the race leader, a second and a half back from his teammate Stephen Colon in the 24. Stapleton again hitting the outside wall. But nonetheless, no DK Wood moving up into the second position. They're 3 wide over here. Parrish falls back to 3rd. Crampton still in 4th. And they're fighting hard for 5th between Josh Lee and Stephen Colon. Crampton getting into the outside wall yet again. That opens up the door for both Colon and Lee to drive around the 22. Meanwhile, all the other lappers, they've caught up to the top 6. And they're going to try to pick off these guys one by one until they get up to Colin Block. So that way they have a better chance of getting back on the lead lap and possibly having a shot to win the final race of the year. Man, that was actually not good for Travis Crampton. He absolutely slapped the wall coming off of 4. That is not what Crampton wanted whatsoever. I'm willing to bet you all the grip that he had in those tires, absolutely gone. Wasted all of it. Just trying to get up to the race lead. Now he's paying the price for it as he loses some more track position to the 31, now to the 47 of Derek Hamill. Stapleton getting into the outside wall once again, further in the background. We have a few new top 10 runners. We're just past 50 laps complete. We got Rogel Dorn in the number 1, who's won at Kansas. Sebastian Palmer, who won the Coca-Cola 600 back in May. And then the number 3 of Mitchell O'Brien. Also following is Terry Walker in the 48 and is Chad Gronkowski in the 36. So we have 5 different winners, nose to tail from one another. Really, you can make it 6 because Val Moscow won at Las Vegas at the very beginning of the season. So lots of newcomers to the top 10 here tonight. And very well could gain some more positions here once we get another round of green flag pit stops in. .54 complete. We have 80 laps to go here in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. Colin Block has led every lap since the restart. Will Parrish still sitting in the second position. Then DK Wood sitting in 3rd, trying to retain it from the 24 of Stephen Colon, who sits in 4th. Now he's going to lose it to Josh Lee, so move Colon back to 5th. Then Travis Crampton in the 6th position, just absolutely dropping like a rock to the lappers. Hernandez scraping the outside wall coming off of turn 2. We've seen it a lot in turn 4, but now we're starting to see the Miami stripe go into effect on the exit of turn 2. And there it is again with Matthew Hubert in the background and now Josh Lee in the foreground in the number 34. But anyways, Val Moscow 7th, Rogel Dorn 8th, Sebastian Palmer 9th, Mitchell O'Brien completing the top 10. We were 3 wide there for a split second between the 3, the 48, and the 36. But that all absolutely mellowed itself out. So heading back through turns 3 and 4, Rogel-Dorn once again getting into the outside wall. But that's not really going to affect him too much here, as O'Brien is going to take over the 9th position from Sebastian Palmer. Now Palmer is under attack from the 48 of Terry Walker. Walker now trying to use that outside line to his advantage. And I'm just going to double check that we did not have any more retirees, which is exactly the case. So pretty much doubling down on what I said earlier about we weren't going to have any retirees. And so far that has absolutely 100% been the case. The top 2 have both checked out. This is kind of the same song, same dance, but different drivers. Remember at the beginning of the race, it was John Andrews and Kyler Sustry who checked out from the field. That was before the first yellow came out. Now here we are again. It's Colin Block and Will Parrish both checking out from the top 2, which is Cologne, well, from the rest of the field, as Damian Kyle Wood and Stephen Cologne continue to fight it out here for this 3rd position. Hamill getting into the outside wall pretty aggressively. He's going to open up the door for 3 wide, heading back into turn 1. Matthew Hubert taking a very low line. But heading down the back straightaway, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what the round 2 of green flag pit stops. See if we're actually going to have green flag pit stops, because we actually got a start on them before the first round, before our first yellow came out. So who knows what's exactly going to happen here once the second round of green flag pit stops gets started. Terry Walker now moves up inside of the top 10 here for the first time tonight in the number 48 machine. And we are approaching halfway home here in the Ford EcoBoost 400. Sustry and Nathan Stapleton peel off. They both come on down to pit road in the number 42 and 11. Wyatt Walker is now in. So now our second round of green flag pit stops is now officially starting. Let's see what everything's going to look like here coming around this time. I believe, yes, Will Parrish is coming on down, followed by the 31, the 47, 23, the 3, Hubert, O'Brien, Taylor, Murray, Cars, Fitzy, and the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. are all in, followed by the 78 and the 4, Matt Jones and Tyler Belladonna. And race leader Colin Block should make his way down pit road right about now. That is exactly what's going to happen. Josh Lee, Stephen Cologne, all stay out. Wood, Crampton, Terry Walker, Val Mosco, Durrani, Gronkowski, and the rest of the crowd in this group is all down pit road. So now, at this particular point, Josh Lee and Stephen Cologne and a lot of these other drivers, BB Hange, Rogel-Dorn, as well as Alex Rampus and Bob Floyd, Savatali, I believe these drivers would complete our second round of green flag pit stops. If I am correct, actually, I believe Nia Steidel and Tatiana Noguera are the final 2 that have yet to come on down to pit road. And then we would have fully cycled on through. Let's watch these 2. And that is 100% going to be the case, as Cologne, Egan, Palmer, Steidl, and Noguera, they all make their way on down to the pits. And this will complete our first round of green flag pit stops. And I believe Colin Block would go back to the race lead, unless if the lead goes back to, I believe it might go to Will Parrish here in this number 2 machine. If that's the case, he's got himself a very impressive margin. Actually, wait just a minute. I believe Stephen Cologne is already making his way back out onto the racetrack as we speak. There he is in the number 24. So yes, just to 100% confirm, Will Parrish is going to assume the race lead on the halfway point here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. 67 down, 67 to go here in the season finale here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. He holds a almost 3.5 second advantage over the 98 of Colin Block. Then running in third would be the number 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. The 48 of Terry Walker would sit fourth. Travis Crampton would complete the top 5. Then we have Josh Lee would be 6th, Murray 7th, Mitchell O'Brien 8th. Then Roberto Crown Jr. 9th, and then the 88 of Val Mosco would complete your top 10. Coming to, I would say that's about 65 laps to go here in the season finale here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So now as we come back over here to DK Wood, it is now a 3.5 second difference. His block gets kicked back to fourth. Derek Hamill right in front of these leaders. Remember, Hamill is, I believe, the first car 1 lap down. No, he's the third car 1 lap down, I should say. Block getting into the outside wall pretty aggressively coming off of turn 4. That'll allow Josh Lee to make the move to the inside to try to move up into the 4th position. But Will Parrish in the number 2 has got himself a very, very, very comfortable advantage over second place DK Wood. You want a good idea of just exactly how good of a lead he's got? Well, take a look at this. That's actually not what I wanted to do. Must have gotten off that camera a little bit early. But we'll actually see it here. Just to give you a good idea of what the gap looks like coming to the finish, coming to the start-finish line. So here's Parrish right here. And there's DK Wood right there, who just crossed the finish line. Crossed the start-finish line. So this is actually a very, very comfortable gap that Will Parrish can work with. He's definitely got a lot of room to play with. And all Parrish just has to do is kind of just mind his own P's and Q's, and he doesn't have to worry about too much up until the next round of green flag pit stops gets started. So this is actually going to be a very, very interesting conclusion here to the Ford EcoBoost 400 here at the Homestead Miami Speedway to round out the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season. If you're just tuning in, we just completed our second round of green flag pit stops. Only we've had one yellow flag That was when we got started with the first round of green flag pit stops that involved several cars, one of which being the 78 of Matt Jones. Tyler Belladonna was also involved in it, but there he is right there. Very, very minor damage to the number 4 machine, but still not faring too well in this race, running 32nd. So even if he were to have some form of mathematical chance to dethrone John Andrews for the championship, I would consider this game over for the number 4 of Belladonna. Same goes for the 31 of Edson Hernandez. That is if both of them had a mathematical shot of dethroning John Andrews for the championship. But for John Andrews in the number 17 machine, right now he is sitting 40th right now. At this juncture of the season where you have yourself an almost 100-point advantage over runner-up Edson Hernandez, do you really think you're going to care about that? Absolutely not. John Andrews knows this is probably going to be the easiest night that he's ever going to have. He is definitely going to walk away with this championship after tonight. So definitely that nameplate is getting screwed on to the championship trophy for John Andrews and the number 17 team. And it will be presented to him in due time. The gap has shrunk just a little bit by about 0.3 of a second over new second place Josh Lee in the number 34. A lot of it just has to do with Parrish working his way through lap traffic in a very methodical, very meticulous sort of way. And right now he's having himself a little bit of a challenge on his hands, just trying to find a way around the 42 of Stapleton and the 11 of Kyler Sustry. He's not faring too well whatsoever. Now the gap has shrunk to 2.88 seconds between Parrish and Lee. The only good spot with Josh Lee, honestly, in a really, really good spot as far as lines go. He was running pretty much just in between the very top line that could get you magnetized to the outside wall and the line that is actually going to get you a really good run. He is kind of just in the right spot to where he could pull away from all these other cars, get himself some pretty good distance, I should say. Like, look at this. This is actually working out for him fairly well. Unless if you're Travis Crampton. This is about the second lap in a row that he's tagged to the outside wall, so he's going to lose another handful of positions here. Colin Block is going to get by. Now he might lose the 6th position to the 30 of Avon Murray. That honestly sounded like it rhymed there, I'm not going to lie. Will Parrish in the number 2, still trying to go for his first win of the season to cap off the 2024 season. He continues to show the way. Josh Lee continuing to close the gap. It is now under 2 seconds. Heading down the back straightaway into the 3rd corner. Lee trying to do everything he can to chase down the 2 of Will Parrish. And that lead is getting ever so smaller. It is now shrunk by another 0.2. Almost 1 1/3 of a second. Hernandez trying to get to the inside, trying to get around the 2 of Will Parrish to try to get back on the lead lap on the inside line. But so far, Hernandez has not fared too well whatsoever. And right where Will Parrish is at, that is not where he wants to be. He scrapes the outside wall coming off of turn number 4. And that is going to do all. That's going to pretty much help. That's gonna help the number 34 of Josh Lee. So now it's officially 1 1/3 seconds. Again, this is all just trying to get by that slower traffic. And again, Parrish scraping the wall there. Not what he wants whatsoever. As now Lee is going to try to get by the 4 of Tyler Belladonna from the inside line. As the lead is now shrunk to a full second. Lee gets by the 4 of Belladonna, now trying to reel in the 2 of Will Parrish. Lee's car is handling like a rocket ship here in the second part of this Ford EcoBoost 400 right here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. As we are just past 60 laps to go in the season. That gap is pretty much gone at this particular rate. They're 3 wide in front of Will Parrish. And Parrish is going to go right through the middle. As the lead is now shrunk to 1/3 of a second. This is not where Will Parrish wants to be whatsoever. He definitely needs to get out of this situation. But here comes a hard charging number 34 of Josh Lee. That gap that Parrish had at the beginning of this green flag run, just after the second round of green flag pit stops, I should say, is gone. It is all completely erased. 1/10 of a second now is the difference between the 2 and the 34. But they are absolutely having to work their way through this lap traffic. And Parrish definitely loving what he sees in his rearview mirror as Lee is in the middle of a 3 wide situation. Hernandez now scraping the outside retaining wall. And Parrish gonna run down to the bottom side, heading through 1 and 2. As Lee is still trapped in the middle. Hubert successfully is going to back out of that. And he's going to live to fight another day, heading back into turn 3. This right here is the battle for the race lead. Lee almost getting into the 42 of Nathan Stapleton as he rockets around Josh Lee. The lead has now grown to about 1/3 of a second. This has also opened up the door for some of these other drivers that are at least 1 lap down or more that still have some speed left over in their cars and that are not getting into the outside wall like Hernandez and BB Haynes are both doing. This opens up the door for them to try to drive up, to try to attempt to get around Will Parrish in an effort to try to get back onto the lead lap. So far, not a whole lot of progress has been made as we're going to focus a little bit more towards the further back end of the field. You got Terry Walker. There's Damian Kyle Wood, all nose to tail. Colin Block trapped up there on the outside with Travis Crampton. And man, this is just another wad of cars that are all pretty much bunched up together. There's John Andrews in the number 17. Pretty much driving to his own comfortability, if you know what I mean. Might have said that wrong, but it's okay. There they go. This is Roberto Crown Jr. and Michael Young fighting it out. This is for the 11th position. As they head down the front straightaway. Pretty much everybody fighting side by side. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, we have ourselves a battle for the lead on our hands. Here comes Josh Lee in the number 34, right down there on the inside, and we're going to have more pit stops taking place. Sustry getting into Will Parrish and upside down. Almost in the air, and there they go once again. Block and Crampton getting involved. And we're going to have more than likely, possibly not actually, caution on the speedway yet again for the third time. And Will Parrish leads them down, but at what cost? Parrish has got some damage on his race machine. Wow. Oh my goodness. Closing in on 40 laps to go. Matt Jones makes contact with Kyler Sustry, setting him up into the path of the two of Will Parrish. And with that, this could more than likely eradicate what could have been a really good run at a race win for Will Parrish to end off his 2024 season. The 48 of Terry Walker is making his way down to pit road. So pretty much everybody that was going to make their green flag pit stops, if we were to stay green, they're all making their trips down to pit road. And the plot to this race has thickened dramatically yet again. Sustry is now officially out of this race, making him the first retiree of the night. With 40 laps to go in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. And actually, this is actually kind of interesting. Terry Walker wins the race off of pit road, followed by the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood coming out in second. Val Moscow comes out third with Vigil O'Brien fourth. Cologne would complete the top five coming out of the pits with Avon Murray sixth. Michael Young seventh. Sebastian Palmer coming out eighth. Josh Lee comes out ninth. And Bob Floyd would be your top 10 as we would get ready to restart this race. And wait just a second. Wait just a minute. I actually do stand corrected. It is going to be the 99 of Wyatt Walker, who's going to stay out and have this race lead as we're getting ready, as we're going to be edging towards the restart here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened that caused our second yellow flag of the night. What's going on, Benda? How we doing? Happy Saturday. And happy birthday as well. For real this time. Hopefully you're having yourself a really, really good start off to your day, my man. Happy birthday, brother. Yeah, actually go ahead and get to that particular points. Here we go. Actually missed it. Here we go. This is it. But what an unfortunate turn of events here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's go ahead and take a look at a replay right here. This is following along with the 11 of Kyler Sustry. Is Matt Jones in the number 78. He slows down to try to make his way down to pit road, but he gets into the passenger side of the number 11 in the right rear quarter panel. Right rears him right there. Sustry loses control, comes up into the path of the two of Will Parrish, almost sending him upside down. Josh Lee was also collected in this one. And then it causes a huge stack-up effect right here. Tyler Belladonna getting collected in this. Colin Block, I think, also gets a piece as well. Travis Crampton goes around off the nose of Ryan Durrani's machine. But my, oh my. Once again, the plot to this race has thickened dramatically. I actually go back and look at this in real speed. Heading back down heading into turn 3. Sustrai takes a much lower line here, but again, not sure why Matt Jones felt the need to right rear Kyler Sustrai on his way to pit road, but that definitely, man, look at all these other cars just taking full evasive action. Great driving by all these guys. And that was a lot of close calls at that same particular note. But thank goodness everybody managed to get by all the other cars that were just trying to get back up to speed. And I do believe, actually, no, we did not miss the restart. So thank goodness for that. Pace car is on to pit road as we're getting ready to restart. Wyatt Walker, of course, is the race leader. Green flag goes back in the air on lap number 98 with Terry Walker, the Walker and Walker show. Damian Kyle Wood, Val Moscow, Mitchell O'Brien. That is your top 5 as we go back green. Coming off of turn number 2, Jones holding pretty much everybody up on the extreme outside line. Remember, Jones is on the tail end of the lead lap. Along with BB Haynes and Nathan Stapleton, they did get back on the lead lap. Jones getting into the outside wall. And Wyatt Walker holding on to this race lead with 35 laps to go coming up here in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. Earlier in the year, Terry Walker managed to get his first career McDonald's Cup Series win at Nashville in June. Jones again getting into the outside wall. But as far as for Wyatt Walker, he's still searching for his first McDonald's Cup Series win. He's been running in this series back at right around 2017, 2018. How fitting would it be for Walker, father and son, to get a win in the same season? This would actually be a story if Wyatt Walker's able to pull this off. 34 laps of racing to go. Father and son, first and second, or should I say son and father, first and second, with son Wyatt showing the way, father Terry sitting in the second position. Mitchell O'Brien in the third spot, followed by DK Wood fourth, Val Moscow fifth, Stephen Colon sixth, Michael Young in the seventh position with Sebastian Palmer, Avon Murray, and the 34 of Josh Lee completing the top 10. Bob Floyd actually moves up inside of the top 10. And there is our eventual McDonald's Cup Series champion, John Andrews. It's unofficial right now, but once he crosses the finish line on lap 134, he will have officially been crowned the 2024 champion. But we're waiting, and we're eager for this. With 32 laps of racing to go, O'Brien moves up to second, using the bottom line to his advantage. He's actually making it work pretty well here coming off of turn number 2, and he might try to pull up alongside the 99 of Wyatt Walker into turn 3. Remember, O'Brien has got fresher tires on this number 3 machine, so he could very well take this race lead away. Heading back into 1. He's pulled up alongside Walker. Wyatt with a good advantage down the back straightaway. Great corner exit for the 99. Back into 3 with 30 to go this time. They're dead even coming off of turn number 4. But again, Wyatt with a great run off corner exit. He'll retain the race lead from the 3 of Mitchell O'Brien. But O'Brien is not done yet. Edging ahead now, down the back straightaway, advantage, Mitchell O'Brien. Can he clear the 99 heading into turn 3? He did for about a split second. Wyatt trying to answer back in the 99, but it's going to be Mitchell O'Brien clearing Wyatt Walker for the lead, so put the 3 out front with 29 laps to go. So this kicks the 99 of Wyatt Walker back to second. Terry Walker gets kicked back to third. Mitchell O'Brien just absolutely spoiling the Walker show of the father and son duo who shoved the way for just a little bit. But now Mitchell O'Brien making the bottom work. He takes the race lead away. He checks out by about a quarter of a second between the Walkers as they fight for the second position. DK Wood in the 38 waiting in the wings along with the Hendrick teammates, Terry's other teammates of Stephen Colon and Val Moscow. Lead has now grown to almost 0.4 of a second. Mitchell O'Brien definitely using those fresh tires and putting them to good use. Trying to check out from the field as they head back into turn 3. Mitchell O'Brien trying to go for his second win on the year. He won at Daytona back in the 4th of July weekend, so he won his first race in Florida, now trying to go for his final McDonald's Cup Series win, his second and final McDonald's Cup Series win here in Miami. I say final because after tonight, the McDonald's Cup Series will be no more after we see its full conclusion. But then again, never say never. Something could change along the way. Coming around, next time by for 24 laps to go. Mitchell O'Brien trying, now at this point, all he's got to do is get by these 5 cars in front of him. Hange, Stapleton, Andrews, Egan, and Derek Hamill. All these drivers are on the tail end of the lead lap. If these 5 want to have a chance at a good finish, all they got to do is hope and pray that a caution comes back out. So that way they can cycle back to the tail end of the field. So that way they can pick up the maximum amount of positions that they are possibly able to. The lead is now shrunk yet again. But yet picks back up by a couple 100ths. Do apologize there, had a little bit of a phlegm buildup. Definitely not going to miss those during the off season as we prepare for WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition heading into 2025. That will be the new thing that takes the helm of the racing aspect of everything once we get back around to February. So hopefully you guys are able to tune into some WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition when we get things going in February of 2025. John Andrews getting into the outside wall, making some contact with Bryce Egan, and look who it is that's just reeled in Mitchell O'Brien. It's the Walkers' father and son, nose to tail, pretty much side by side from one another, pretty much dead even down the front straightaway. But 20 laps of racing to go here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Mitchell O'Brien going way high, almost getting into the outside wall. Here comes Terry Walker to the inside. Walker also trying to go for his second win of the season, while Wyatt, to reiterate, is trying to go for his first. Down the back straightaway, heading into turn number 3. The bottom has been able to work for a little bit. Let's see if it'll work for Terry Walker as they come off of turn number 4. Not quite there. O'Brien is going to fully clear the 48 of Terry Walker. Mitchell O'Brien going to put the eventual McDonald's Cup Series champion one lap down, or at least try to. I think he's definitely going to do it right here. He has the preferred line to do this. But now at this point, the question will be, when's that final green flag pit stop going to be? Or are these drivers going to be able to make it all the way on that tank of fuel? More importantly, it's that gas than it is the tires. I mean, tires are pretty essential, but it's the fuel that's going to get you all the way to the finish. So the question is, are all of these drivers going to try to stretch it out, or are there going to be some of them that might have to come down and get that splash of fuel to get them to the finish? We're just gonna have to find out here soon enough. Terry Walker now all over the back bumper of the 3 of Mitchell O'Brien as they head back into the third corner. Wyatt Walker now under fire from the 38 of DK Wood. That's the battle for third. Left of your screen now at the very bottom. Wyatt definitely holding off the challenges from Damian Kyle Wood. Stephen Colon waiting in the wings in the number 24, very far right of your screen. Hernandez, more than likely, is probably going to get into the outside wall, which is exactly what happened with Mitchell O'Brien. And Walker was not able to capitalize because John Andrews was 2 O'Briens inside and there was no hole available for Terry Walker to slip through. Hey, yo. Coming around for 14 laps of racing to go. O'Brien gets into the outside wall again. Now there's the opening that Terry Walker needs. He pulls up alongside, heading back into turn 1. But can O'Brien make it stick coming off of turn number 2? They're pretty dead even down the back straightaway. O'Brien edging ahead. But heading through 3 and 4 is... Oh, O'Brien, just don't hit the wall again. Don't hit the wall again. He doesn't there. He holds on to it pretty well. But they're still very much so dead even down the front stretch, heading through 1 and 2 yet again. Stephen Colon now challenging the 99 of Wyatt Walker for third as they head down the back straightaway. This right here, more than likely, is the race for the win. O'Brien, so close yet again, but he's going to actually scrape the wall once more. but it isn't going to affect the number 3 of O'Brien whatsoever, at least for the moment. Terry holding on down on the inside. Wyatt Walker fending off the challenge from Stephen Colon. And this is honestly a very, very entertaining fight for this win. O'Brien and Terry Walker still side by side, heading through one. None of these drivers are gonna surrender whatsoever. But at this point, Terry Walker now fully cleared of the 3, at least for now, until he gets back at it. There'll be 10 laps of racing to go. Wyatt has to come on down. Wyatt is on pit road. They're coming down pit road with 10 laps of racing to go here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. O'Brien leads it. So now the question is, what is the strategy going to look like? At this juncture of the race with 10 to go, Wyatt Walker had to make the move down to pit road. What is this going to look like? O'Brien, that's Terry Walker getting into the outside wall. So everybody's having to come on down pit road at this particular time. Colon is in with Josh Lee. There's Dale Johnson, John Felber, Hubert, Parrish, Noguera. What is the race leaders going to do? Is Mitchell O'Brien going to come on down pit road? He does. Terry Walker is going to stay out. So does Damian Kyle Wood. Michael Young also stays out. Along with Durrani, even Roberto Crown Jr. stays out. So does PJ Vidal. Vidal back up in this portion of the field for the first time since the beginning of this race. Did we have ourselves another wreck? Or were there more drivers that wound up scraping the outside wall? I think it was just that. There are no skid marks, of course, coming off of turn number 4. So we do stay green. And I believe, yep, Terry is in. Terry Walker is on pit road. So Damian Kyle Wood, I think Wood is on pit road too. Yes, he is. He's actually entering his pit. Mitchell O'Brien is now making his way out of the pit road area. There's so much going on. I believe PJ Vidal. Did Vidal stay out? Well, Vidal is coming out right now along with the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood. Left-hand side of your screen, you might see a number 3 go right on by. Then again, maybe not. There he is, actually. There's the number 3 of Mitchell O'Brien. But now what is this outcome going to look like here? With 6 laps to go, did Wyatt Walker just go back to the race lead? He did. He's out front by 2 seconds over Stephen Colon, coming to 5 laps to go this time by. That, I think, was the best call that Wyatt Walker could have made. That call to be the first guy to come on down pit road may be the thing that he needs to secure a win to close out the season with 5 to go. So now your top 10 looking like this after our last round of green flag stops. Wyatt Walker the leader, Stephen Colon in second, Avon Murray third, Val Moscow 4th, Terry Walker 5th, Josh Lee 6th, Felber 7th, Hubert 8th, Dale Johnson showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight. and followed by Jeremiah Simpson, another driver showing up inside of the top 10 for the first time tonight. 4 laps to go, and Cologne is cutting into the lead and has a second and a half, but I think it just might be too little too late. Coming to 3 laps of racing to go. Wyatt Walker continuing to show the way. You know, it's actually kind of interesting. You have John Felber, who got his first win at Sonoma earlier this year, back in September. Then you have John Andrews, who's going to win the championship tonight. He got 3 wins. Wyatt had yet to get a win this season. Coming around to 2 laps of racing to go, it looks very, very possible that we're going to see all 3 of the Roush Fenway cars nab a win before the season is done. 2 to go for Wyatt Walker. The gap between him and Stephen Cologne is a full second now. Through 3 and 4. This is going to be a celebration for the ages as they work their way through turn number 4. The last lap of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season is underway. Final lap from Miami. Just under a second now. 8/10 between Walker and Stephen Cologne. But down the back straightaway one final time. Heading into turn 3. I've been wondering for so long, when is he going to finally get his first McDonald's Cup Series win? But here we are 7 years later. Wyatt Walker is a McDonald's Cup Series winner. And just like that, and it's official, John Andrews is your 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series champion. How about that? What a dominating season for John Andrews. All 3 Roush cars finally get a win before the year is said and done. Wyatt Walker, after so many years of trying, he closes out the deal, gets the job done, and for John Andrews, absolutely laying waste to the field on a consistent basis. 3 wins to close out the year. A huge, significant points margin over Edson Hernandez coming into tonight. And that's the thing that gave John Andrews this championship here tonight. Stephen Cologne coming home in the 2nd position. Great run for him. Avon Murray finishing in 3rd. And then we have Val Mosco 4th. Terry Walker completing the top 5. Father and son have made history, becoming the first father and son duo to win a McDonald's Cup Series race in the same season. Josh Lee finishing in 6th. John Felber in 7th. Then we have Matthew Huber 8th. Dale Johnson 9th. Michael Young completing the top 10. Here's a look at the rest of your finishing results from 11th all the way down to 28th. This is the first chunk of cars that finished on the lead lap. Then take a look down here, all the way down to 30th. That's Bryce Egan, last car finished on the lead lap. Then from 1 lap down or more, that's B.B. Haynes, Derek Hamill, Travis Crampton, John Andrews, who does win the championship regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happened tonight, he was walking away with this championship. And he officially locks it up here tonight. Nathan Stapleton, Edson Hernandez, Durrani, Belladonna, Jones, Wells, and then DeFeo. The only retiree was our pole sitter of Kyler Sustry. What a race. What a season. And what a time to close out the year here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. This has been such an amazing 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series season. We finally got done with a full season. We did it. Mission accomplished for the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. After 9 years of this series being around, we finally got a season that sees itself all the way out to completion, and we have our first official McDonald's Cup Series champion, and his name is John Andrews, absolutely putting a whipping on everybody in the point standings with a large enough gap to close out the deal here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. It's been a very awesome run. It's been what a season full of memories, man. I'm definitely going to miss doing the McDonald's Cup Series. Who knows? We might bring this back in another year or two. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But we do have WRLA Pepsi Cup Series competition coming up in 2025. So hopefully you guys are very excited for that. I know I am, and it's going to be an absolute blast calling that series. But as far as the McDonald's Cup Series, thank you for the memories. And thank you guys so much for watching throughout the season, throughout the year, watching every 2 to 3 weeks out. I know the off weeks were pretty lengthy, but as far as the dates and everything, we still got this season done, and we got through it for a whole calendar year. Thank you guys so much for an amazing 2024 season for the McDonald's Cup Series. And if you are in the NRLOA Discord, as you're watching this YouTube premiere, keep an eye on that Discord once this premiere concludes. But thank you guys so much for an amazing 2024 season. Congratulations to Wyatt Walker on winning the Ford EcoBoost 400 here tonight at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And congratulations to John Andrews on winning the 2024 NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series Championship. Have yourselves a great rest of your year. Have a great night, everybody. And as far as NR 2003 competition, we'll see you in 2025 for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. Have a good one, y'all.